Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. I'm your host, Lexi, of course. We are a one woman show, and we are always here talking about mental health, how to glow up, and how to just be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. And I am here to help you because I was just on a healing journey for the past, I don't even know, 2 years, I want to say. And we've been doing this together. And today it's like thunderstorming out. So I was like, you know what? What a perfect day to just come in my little filming room and just sit down and talk to you guys because it's thunderstorming. It was really nice this morning when I went outside. It was like high 70s. It was sunny. Thank God I was able to actually take Luna for a pretty long walk, but now it's thunderstorming. So we're going to chat. So, today we're going to talk about how being single is actually a power move. And I know that some people are like, oh, I hate being single. I just really want somebody. But it's really a fucking power move, okay? Let's talk about something that society has made weird for absolutely no fucking reason. And that is literally being single. I feel like the second someone is single for more than like 5 minutes, people start acting like there's a problem that needs to be solved. And like suddenly everyone becomes a relationship detective. I can't stand the question when someone's like, why are you single? What the fuck do you mean, why am I single? I obviously haven't found anyone, so I'm fucking single. Like that question is just kind of like, you know how people say there's no such thing as a dumb question? I feel like that's a dumb question. Because obviously, if I found somebody, I wouldn't fucking be single. Fuck you mean why? People are always like, oh, what happened? Like, are you dating anyone? Don't you want someone? And it's always said with this condescending tone, like being single is some kind of temporary situation that you're trying to escape from. But what if it's not? What if being single is not something you're stuck in, but it's something you're actually choosing? Because the truth is, a lot of people are in relationships just because they are afraid of being alone and can't handle being alone. Not because the relationship is healthy, not because the relationship is fulfilling, but because the idea of being single makes them uncomfy. And I get it. We live in a culture that romanticizes relationships so heavily that people start believing their life doesn't really start until they find somebody. But that mindset is actually one of the fastest ways to lose yourself. Because if you believe your life only becomes meaningful once someone else enters it, you're automatically giving someone else the power over your happiness. And that is so dangerous. Your life should not begin when someone else chooses you. Your life should already be in motion. You should already be building something, already growing, already becoming someone you're proud of. And if someone enters your life, they should be adding to it, not becoming the center of it. That's why today I wanted to talk about why being single is actually one of the most powerful seasons that you can experience. Because when you really understand the value of this season, you stop seeing it as something you need to escape. You start seeing it as something you can use. Let's start with the real reason people fear being single. And it's not actually about relationships. It's more about discomfort than anything because when you're single, you're confronted with yourself head on in a way that relationships sometimes allow you to avoid. Think about it for a second. When you're in a relationship, your time is shared, your energy is shared, your attention is divided, your emotional focus is often on somebody else. But when you're single, all of that attention comes back to you. Your thoughts, your habits, your routines, your emotions. And for some people, that level of self awareness feels uncomfortable because suddenly you can't distract yourself with someone else's presence. You have to sit with your own life, your goals, your own direction, all the things that you've been avoiding. And sometimes that reflection forces you to realize some things that you didn't want to look at and that you kind of avoided. Maybe you realize that you've been settling. Maybe you realize you've been avoiding growth. Maybe you realize you don't actually know yourself as well as you thought. And that realization can feel unsettling. But discomfort is not always a bad sign. Sometimes discomfort is simply just the signal that you're entering a space where growth is possible. You can't grow if you're just too comfortable. A lot of people avoid that space by constantly staying in a relationship that doesn't even serve them, or those people that hop from relationship to relationship to relationship, not because the relationships are healthy, but because the relationships provide distraction. But when you're single, you don't have that distraction anymore. You have clarity. And clarity can be uncomfortable before it comes empowering. Something I noticed is that a lot of people move from one relationship to another without even taking time to process anything. It's almost like relationships become emotional rebound systems. Breakups happen. It hurts. It sucks. It's not fun. But instead of sitting with that pain and learning and growing from it, the person immediately starts looking for someone new. And then that cycle repeats. But when you don't take time in between relationships, you never really reflect on the patterns that led to the relationship ending. You don't examine your boundaries. You don't examine the type of people that you've been choosing. You don't examine your own behaviors or attachment patterns. And because you skip that reflection, you unknowingly bring the same dynamics to the next relationship. That's why you'll see people who feel like they keep dating the same person, but just in different bodies. The name changes, but the problems stay the same. And being single interrupts that cycle because when you're not immediately jumping into another relationship, you actually have time to process what happened. You can ask yourself some reflection questions like, why did I tolerate certain things? What did I tolerate that I shouldn't have? Where did I abandon my own needs to keep the peace? Did I ignore red flags? What boundaries do I need to strengthen? Those kinds of reflections are incredibly valuable because when you understand your patterns, you gain the power to change them. And that kind of self awareness dramatically improves the quality of your future relationships. One of the most underrated benefits of being single is the opportunity to actually learn who you are outside of relationships. Because a lot of people unintentionally shape their identity around who they're dating. Their routine changes, their interests change, their priorities shift, sometimes so gradually that they don't even realize it's happening. But when you're single, you have the freedom to define yourself without that influence. You can figure out like what do you enjoy doing? What kind of lifestyle do you want to build? What are your personal values? What kind of partner would actually align with my life? And when you start answering those questions honestly, something powerful happens and you start building a life that feels authentic to you, not influenced by someone else's expectations, but actually aligned with who you are. And that process builds confidence, real, actual, true confidence, not the kind that comes from like compliments or validation, but the kind that comes from knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your boundaries, and knowing your direction. And when you have that level of clarity, relationships become so much different. Instead of looking for someone to give your life meaning, you start looking for someone who respects the meaning that you already created for yourself. Another powerful thing about being single is it naturally raises your standards. Because once you've become comfortable with your own peace, you become very protective of it. You stop entertaining relationships and people that create unnecessary chaos. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop chasing people who are unsure about you. And that shift is so important because when you're comfortable being single, you are no longer operating from desperation. You're operating from choice. You're not thinking, I need someone. You're thinking, does this person actually add value to my life? And that difference changes everything. Because when someone enters your life, they're no longer filling a void. They're either enhancing your peace or disrupting it. And once you've experienced the peace that comes with emotional independence, you become much more selective about who you allow to enter your life. And that's not being cold. That's not being difficult. That is self respect. And I'm going to tell you, y'all, ever since I've been single for the past a while, I don't even know, for the past while, okay, I have been so selective with who I let into my life, even friends, family members, everybody, because I've experienced peace for so long. And the second I sniff something disrupting it, even in the teeniest, tiniest bit, I am not interested. I don't want that. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to be involved with it. It cannot enter my life. And that's why I like to spend so much time alone because it's so peaceful. I'm not going out on the weekends to just find a random person to fill some void that I need to be filled. Want to know why? Because I truly love myself and I have set so many boundaries from all of the things I've experienced. I would rather just be home alone doing whatever, whether it's reading, doing a puzzle, watching a movie, whatever the fuck, hanging out with my dog. I would rather be doing those things than going out trying to find a random person to fill some void. I don't need that. Like, realistically, what can somebody do that I can't already do for myself? And that's what you need to think about because you should not be making the person you're dating the center of your life. Like, of course, your partner is an important person in your life. But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't be your whole personality. You know, those people who are dating someone and you ask them to hang out and they're like, oh, I need to ask my boyfriend. Oh, I need to ask my girlfriend. Ask? What the fuck do you mean ask? If it's a healthy relationship, you should be able to make plans without asking for permission. Yeah, of course, let your partner know what you're doing, but you shouldn't have to ask for permission like you're a fucking child. I cannot stand people like that and people who are impossible to make plans with because they have to see what their partner is doing. I have a friend like that. And I honestly stopped trying to make friends with this person. I mean, make plans with this person because anytime I ask them to do something, they're like, oh, I need to see what my boyfriend's doing. I need to see if my boyfriend's going to be home. What do you mean, need to see? Like, you can't make plans and then just let your boyfriend know that you have plans? Like, why does your whole life revolve around what your boyfriend's doing? So I just stopped trying to make plans with this person because what's the point? It's going to be the same answer. And it's kind of exhausting. It makes you kind of like push yourself away from that person. And I know you know the kind of person I'm talking about. I'm sure you have had a person like this in your life because unfortunately, they're common. It's people who just don't know how to be independent and have always had a partner. Honestly, that person did always have a partner. They were single for maybe 2 seconds and then had a boyfriend, then a boyfriend, then a boyfriend, and they're always like long-term boyfriends. And then when they break up, there's another boyfriend. So I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense on why they make their boyfriend their whole entire personality because it's a pattern. It really is. And That's what I'm trying to tell you not to do because it's not healthy. Like, yes, you may have a good relationship with your partner. You may not really fight, they may be loyal, but that doesn't mean it's fully a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship means still being able to do your own thing without making that person your whole entire personality. And that's what I'm looking for. Like, I want somebody. Of course, I want somebody, but I'm not going to be with somebody just because I don't want to be alone. I would rather be alone, please. But I want somebody that is going to add to my life, not take from it. I'm tired of being emotionally drained and exhausted. I don't want that. If you're not adding to my life, stay away from me. Please stay away from me. And that's what a relationship is supposed to be. They're not supposed to drain you. They're supposed to add to your life and benefit, and you can benefit off each other. You're not supposed to feel drained because your partner's around, you know? So I just want to say if you are single right now, I want you to stop viewing it as a problem that needs to be solved. Stop being sad that you're single. I know Valentine's Day passed not that long ago, and like I was scrolling on my For You page, and so many people are like, ugh, single again on Valentine's Day. Of course, it's amazing. You are in the era of learning yourself. There is no better time to learn who you are, what you want to do with your life. You learn so much about yourself from being single. This is the time to do it. While you're single is the time to do it. And this might be one of the most powerful seasons in your life. This is the season where you learn yourself, where you are building your confidence, where you are developing your standards, where you create a life that feels meaning to you. And when you build that kind of foundation, relationships stop being something that you depend on. They become something you choose carefully. And that is a completely different mindset because the healthiest relationships are not built between two people who are looking to be completed. They are built between two people who are already whole, two people who know themselves, respect themselves, and bring their full selves into the relationship. And when you approach relationships from that place, you're not settling, you're selecting. And that is a fucking power move. It really fucking is. And I feel like sometimes it's hard to see it, but this is the time, especially in your 20s. It's like the prime time to be single and find yourself and figure out who you are. Like, I've been single. I've been learning so much about myself. I've been learning I loved to read. I didn't know I loved to read. Like before you couldn't catch me picking up a book, and I really love it. I've been doing more hobbies. It's starting to get nicer out, so I'm going out and playing tennis, and it's kind of helping me figure out what I want because while I'm single, I'm observing other people's relationships. Like, are all of my friends in relationships? Most of them are in relationships, and like of course I see on social media people's relationships, so I'm like observing other people's relationships and I'm learning what I don't want. I'm being so fucking selective because the next person I want that to be my forever partner, and I know it's hard to say if that will be the case because I can't predict the future. I'm not a fucking fortune teller, but that's my goal and that's what I want. I'm tired of just dating to date because it just seems pointless. Why would I want to spend time with somebody who I have no future with and I don't see a future with? For what? You only get one life. Why the fuck would I want to waste my time with someone who I don't see a future with? So, yes, I'm going to be selective, and now is the time to do it. You are choosing. Stop fucking settling. Now, stop seeing being single as something that is happening to you or is like a sad thing. Fuck no, it's not. You are learning what you want, what boundaries you need to set, and you're learning yourself. And that's power within itself, okay? I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Boss Up and Glow Up. with Lexi Sample. I really hope this changed your mindset on being single because I am tired of hearing people complaining that they're single. Stop complaining about being single. Do you know how many people are in relationships that are complaining that their partner sucks? And that's not you. So don't complain, be grateful, learn what you need to know about yourself, and enjoy it while it lasts because it's not going to last forever. You're going to be with somebody eventually. So, right now, take that time and figure out what you actually want and stick with it and set those boundaries. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. I love you so, so, so much. I will see you next week.